With crypto markets moving again, it's a really exciting time to be learning to day trade. And in this video, I'm going to tell you a few tips on how you can get started at learning to day trade, as well as an amazing tool that you can use to make up to 90% profit in just 30 seconds. Obviously, nothing I say on this channel is financial advice or do your own research before investing any money. Do me a favor, hit that like button, and let's get into today's video. So I'm going to come across to tradingview.com. This is a very cool platform that you can use for absolutely free to do your chart analysis. And charts are basically showing us the prices moving all the time for different cryptos. And on the left and on the right hand side, you can see I've got BTC or Bitcoin USDT and all the other cryptos with their ticker, which is the little letters, which is the small symbol. So for example, Solana, SOL would be the ticker. And you can see at the top left, we've got all the different time frames. So for example, if I was to click on a day, then each of these different items here, all these bars, is called a candle, and each one of these in this time frame represents a day. If I click on 15 minutes, then each of these represents 15 minutes. Basically, from the very top of the little wick to the bottom of the wick represents the movement during that time, and the actual price close is represented by the body of the candle. So the price open moves down, comes up to here, and then the price closes after moving all the way up here at this level here. Now, trading can be quite tricky, but there is lots of things you can do to identify patterns. Now, what you can see here is lots of different chart patterns, and what we can do by identifying these patterns is where we think the chart prices might move. So here you can see these pennant patterns where we bounce between two areas and then break towards the upside. And if we look into this Bitcoin chart, you can see that this hits a few times and then eventually breaks towards the upside. So if you identified this area here, you could have taken a trade on Bitcoin and you would have been able to make big profits because we did blow all the way up to this level here. Now, while trading might seem very simple and it's about finding these patterns, that's only a very small part of it. Understanding strategies and finding ways to work strategies on crypto is actually very simple and very straightforward and doesn't take very long at all to learn. You could learn perhaps in a day or maybe 2 days just by learning about chart patterns and trading setups. But what we need to understand is the trend. So before I'm even looking to take a trade, I'll look at where Bitcoin's headed. And over the last few weeks, we can see that in this part of the cycle, we're moving towards the upside. Now, markets progress through cycles all the time where they're moving from areas of overvalued to undervalued, and eventually they'll continue to move like that. And you can see that Bitcoin has been through a bull market, which means it was moving towards the upside, and then eventually it ended up in this bear market where it's been moving towards the downside. You would understand right now that we are probably in now a new bull market moving towards the upside again. And what I want to be doing is trading in the direction that I think the market is going. The market is moving up. I want to be with the market. Okay, so the trend is your friend until the end. I want to follow the trend. So what I want to identify, guys, is these big pushes like we have here, and eventually wait for a bit of a cool off to happen, and then understand that in an area like this, we are finding support. We're finding support on top of this trading pattern that we have already identified. It's broken beyond previous lines of resistance where it was stopped from breaking through, becomes support. Now I'm confident that Bitcoin will move towards the upside. So what I'm looking for on this particular chart is an area where we've got support. This shows me that there's buying pressure coming in. The candle wick is towards the downside, and now we're seeing pressure on the upside. So let's say I wanted to take a trade on Bitcoin. Well, here I might have taken my trade, and what I need to use, and this is essential, is a stop loss. That means that the trade goes against me. I need to be taken out the trade for a smaller loss rather than taking a massive loss. So what I want to say is that if the price comes down to here, I want to be out the trade. So I take a small loss down here. Let's say I've got a $10,000 account, of which you can get access to $10,000 accounts by using funded accounts. And there's tons of different funding options where you can buy a $10,000 account for just $50, which is really, really powerful and gives you a chance to practice trading for very cheap compared with losing $10,000. So this, I want to be 1% of my account. So I know that if price comes down here, I'll lose $100 at this level. However, I want to take a ratio of at least 2 to 1. Ideally, I want to be looking for a 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio. So if my account is $10,000, I'm risking 1%, which is minus $100. I will potentially make $300 if the price pushes towards this. And if you don't know how to work out a risk calculator, well, all you need to do, guys, is come across to babypips.com, which again is free. You can choose the currency of the account. So for example, US dollar or GBP or whatever it is. The balance of the account account, like here, $10,000 as we just said, the risk percentage we want to use, and then the stop loss, the size of the stop loss down. Now, if you're talking about forex pairs, you're going to be talking in pips, but if it's in crypto, slightly different as well. So make sure you read about how to do that using risk calculators, because as soon as I place a trade, I don't know if that trade's going to win or not. And psychology is basically the biggest downfall of all traders, crypto, forex, whatever. So we need to use risk management. I would recommend only risking 1% of your account if you're brand new, probably only 0.5% of your account, and using funded accounts because they give you much more money to play with. I've just said with a $10,000 account, risking 1% to make $300 is pretty good. If you've got a $100,000 account, you can risk $1,000 to make $3,000. And I've mentioned you don't need to worry about having $100,000. You can go and purchase these for a couple of $100. And this is an amazing way to get started trading, in my opinion. Now, you do need to understand that news does move markets as well, so you need to keep your finger on the pulse. And if you want to find out more about different news, then I recommend going to this website. Now, when it comes to crypto, it's linked to the US dollar. We're talking about Bitcoin versus USD. So we need to understand what is happening in the news for the US dollar, because if US dollar is going up, Bitcoin will go down, and if the US dollar goes down, Bitcoin will go up. And what we can keep our eye on is myfxbook.com, which has all of the currency pairs news that's happening throughout the day. So here you can see this is Chinese flag. So in the next 56 minutes, some big news is going to hit for China, and then we can see the impact. This means how much it's going to affect the price potentially. Here we got medium, low, and high. Obviously, you got high impact news on a currency pair that you're trading. Be very careful because it can affect your trades dramatically. Now, example, last night we had the FOMC minutes, which had a big impact on the Bitcoin price, and actually it saw Bitcoin rallying towards the upside by about $600 in the space of about 20 seconds. So you need to be very cautious and keep your eye on the news. This is all, again, absolutely free. Obviously, we're looking for US dollar, and you can come down through, look for the American flag. Here we got some big news happening in 10 hours and 25 minutes with jobless claims and various other things which will have a big impact on the dollar, and that's essential. I keep my eye on that if I want to trade crypto, if I want to trade the US dollar pairs like GBP, USD, etc. So why do you want to trade? Well, guys, it allows you to use a smaller amount of money, and it allows you to use a leverage, which means you can use leverage, which means I can use, which for example, now Bitcoin is worth $30,000. Let's say I've only got $3,000 in my account. If Bitcoin goes up 10%, then I will only make $300 on that $3,000. However, with leverage, I can do a 10x, which gives me the buying power of a one whole Bitcoin. Bitcoin then goes up 10%, and I double my $3,000 investment, okay? Because I got $3,000, and on double that, I get $6,000. Because Bitcoin at 10% is $3,000, but remember, I only had that buying power in the first place. The risk with this, however, if Bitcoin drops 10%, I lose all of my investment. So be very, very cautious when you are trading. If you are struggling to understand this, I understand it is complex, but it's well worth getting into because it gives you absolute security where you can go and live anywhere in the world and work from a computer without any limit really on the amount of earnings that you can make. If it's technical and difficult to understand, don't worry, I've got the solution for you right now. And here we are over on Finteria.com. Very, very straightforward, guys. You get a bonus on sign up. If you deposit $1,000, you get $1,000 back. Deposit $100, you get $100 back. And that brings us across to this rather confusing looking panel, but don't worry, it's very straightforward. On the left, you can see Bitcoin USD. You can drop down and you can trade all sorts of different things from currency pairs to cryptos. Now, all I'm doing is identifying whether I think the price is going to go up or down in a time frame. On the right, you can see I have 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, where do I think the price is going to be? Higher or lower than when I press the button? And I can change that to being like 3 hours, whatever. 30 seconds. Obviously, you're going to see potentially much quicker profits. 90% profit of whatever you trade, however, is much riskier. So here on the demo, I can say $100, and let's say I think Bitcoin is going to go higher because currently it is moving towards the upside. Remember, right now I'm using demo money, so let's just say we think the price is going to go higher. I'm going to put in 100, which means the $100. I'm going to click higher, and then I've got to wait for 30 seconds. You can see at the bottom my trade is currently open, and it does say that right now I'm below the red line, which means I'll lose the trade if we get towards 30 seconds by that time. However, we need to get above that line within 30 seconds, and you can see as soon as we get above that line within the 30 seconds, we're going to be in profit, and we're going to make from this particular trade $85. Or if it closes just below that line, which is going to happen very, very shortly, you can see that we will lose that $100, and that's just happened right there. So as I've just showed you, it can be risky. You can lose lots of money, so be very cautious about how much money you're prepared to use a demo. Identify the trends. I do recommend looking longer time frame. It's much easier to identify longer time frame moves than it is on a small 30-second time frame, because on 30 seconds you're getting movements all the time. But in the next 3 hours, if we can see a trend, identify the trend and move towards the upside is a much easier way to be trading. Obviously, guys, do your own research and make sure you study this. Use the demos before you're using any real money. In summary, day trading is a great way to to earn a great income and be able to travel the world living from your laptop. However, it's challenging. You do need to learn good strategies and practice your strategies over and over again using TradingView to make sure that you're confident in your strategy. And once you've done that, you need to develop the mindset to become an excellent trader. But if you can do this, the rewards are potentially endless. And if you believe that you can master your own self-discipline, then trading is a fantastic way to make an income. I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, hit the like button for me. If you're new to the channel, you want to learn more about trading, crypto, NFTs, GameFi, and so much more, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.